Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. So unfortunately, we lost another creator today to the Airbnb bust, and it's Shelby Church, okay? I'm way too invested in this project. I started following this entire segment years ago when she bought this property in Palm Springs. She renovated it. It was supposed to be this incredible Airbnb. And then the pandemic hit, and everything went to crap. But her Airbnb just skyrocketed in value. All of a sudden, everyone wanted to go and stay in Palm Springs. It was making a ton of money. But then the heating bill came in for the pool, and it was like, thousands of dollars a month. Then the Airbnb started losing money. Then a whole bunch of other people started buying Airbnbs around there. And then California just started being more California. It became very difficult to operate. And now we got this video here. It's just titled, Why I'm Quitting Airbnb. And it's not clickbait. So keep watching this. I want to share my comments as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe. That's all I ask for. Thank you so much. And now let's begin.
You saw the title right. I'm quitting Airbnb. No, it's not clickbait. It just doesn't make sense anymore. So today I'll get into why I'm quitting, what the last straw was for me, and what I'm planning on doing with this house now.
It's kind of funny. The pendulum swings like both ways, okay? So it tends in market cycles to swing really hard in one direction as everyone flocks to this new way of making money, and then it has a habit of swinging to the opposite direction. And in this case, it was Airbnb. All of these property owners wanted Airbnbs because you could charge exorbitant amounts for rent. But the problem with that was, initially it took a lot of the inventory off the market for long-term rentals. And, it made sense. Airbnb made more money. But because there are so few long-term rentals, all of a sudden now, they're back in demand. So a lot of the Airbnbs could be transitioned into long-term rentals and make more money now. So the pendulum has swung back to long-term rentals in a lot of these Airbnb-dense neighborhoods.
Something changed recently, and it is the nail on the coffin for Airbnbs in California.
It's a new bill that's introducing an additional 15% tax anytime you go to book an Airbnb in California.
It's called SB 584, and they're rushing to get this into effect by 2025.
Why would they do that? It's like California doesn't want business. It's like any good business idea they see, they're like, no, it's bad. Let's put more tax on it. They make it so difficult. And it's frustrating because there's so many great people out there who would love to operate and run a business in California, but they can't because the fees, the taxes, all the red tape that goes along, it doesn't make any sense. There's so many people that now just stay away from California for good reason. It's very difficult, and the returns just aren't there. So I see this as like, what are they taxing for? What are they trying to pay? Who's lobbying for this? Is it the hotel industry? Is it locals who don't want Airbnbs? We got to figure out who's at the bottom of this because there's more to it. They're just taxing everything into oblivion.
So this is good news to a lot of people because I know a lot of you guys now hate Airbnb. And I get it. The tax money is to go towards building affordable housing units.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like that's actually gonna happen. They passed this LA mansion tax. They're taxing properties 3 to 5% that sell above $5 million, regardless of whether or not you make a profit. So let's say you buy a property for $5 million and then you sell it for $5 million. Well, now when you sell it, $5 million, 3% of that is going to go to the county to then pay for, basically homeless shelters. They've tried this in the past. The money just vanishes. We don't know where it goes. None of the money actually goes to where they say it's going to go. It pays admin fees all the way down, and then when it gets to the people who actually need it, they're left with nothing.
Now in 2025, when this whole thing goes into effect, it's gonna make it so that the taxes you pay are $749. So the total reservation goes from $3,300 to $3,745.
And the crazy thing is that none of this is taxed on profit, okay? These are all taxes on gross revenue. So if you're just break even is $3,000 a month and you make $3,000 a month, you're losing money when it comes to taxes and fees. Doesn't make sense. Like I get Airbnb they're not going to be calculating a person's profit. I understand that, but for these tax the profit. Tax the money you make, at the very least, not the money you earn.
But I'm actually not selling my house. I came up with a different plan for a number of reasons, and that is to turn it into a long-term rental. That is my plan in 2025.
What I say, I didn't even see this part. I'm telling you. Long-term rentals, she'll make some money on this. If it were me, okay, she might want to sell it, okay? Now is a decent time to sell when values are high relative to, really where they were. Values are high right now, interest rates are high, but she'd probably get a buyer for this. Get out of California because I believe maybe she had lived there as for a bit as a primary resident. She's probably excluded from some sort of taxes on that. Possibly she should check with the CPA. I would just sell this thing, get out of it, move your money into something else.
You might be like, now why not sell it? Number one reason is because I love this house. I put so much work into it, and I also love Palm Springs. I could see myself maybe retiring here one day. So I don't want to let go of it when I already have this house and have put so much work into it and have locked in this low interest rate and all this, it's just, no, I don't want to sell it.
Yeah, see, it's the interest rate. It's the reason why so many people don't want to sell, because they've locked in this historically low rate, and if they sell, then they're losing that rate. And then they got to go and get a new rate if they buy something else. It's like twice the cost. Same reason for me, by the way. I've locked in all of my interest rates between 2.8% and like 3.5%, on the very highest on investment properties. It doesn't make sense to get rid of those interest rates. It's so low that if I were to sell, it's like, what do you replace that with? And that's why nobody's selling right now. Interest rates really have to come down to about 4.5% for the whole market to tend to balance out on 4.5%. Then it might make sense to be like, okay, I'm giving up my 3.5 for a 4.5, not the end of the world, but giving up a 3.5 for an 8, that makes no sense.
I actually met one of my neighbors recently, and he told me that he turned his Airbnb into a long-term rental, and he's making more. He's making more. The mortgage for my house right now, it's $3,200 a month. And Redfin and Zillow think I could rent this long-term for $6,200 a month.
No, $6,200 a month. Why were you doing this from the beginning? That's a fantastic rent. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, $6,200 seems high. Seems high. You're gonna have all of these Airbnbs flood the market pretty soon because no one is gonna be making money to that degree. And so they're going to all try to capitalize on long-term rentals. Maybe that's the market in Palm Springs. I was imagining the market on this would probably be $4,500 a month, give or take. So it's like she'll make money on this, but just not a ton.
My parents live here in Palm Springs now, and my sister and her boyfriend also bought a house here, so I tend to just visit them and stay with them now than even use this house anyway. So I don't really care as much about having it as like a partial use vacation home.
Here's the thing though, if you get emotional about a property like that, and you just say, well, we put so much work into it, it's great, I like to come back and visit. When you add up the cost of each visit and how much you're spending in the overhead just to visit, let's say if a few weeks a month or whatever it might be, 1 week a month on average, it's very expensive. It would be cheaper for her just rent a place on Airbnb and stay there. But I get, you get an emotional connection to a place. And logically, she has a low interest rate and could rent it out for more. It makes sense to probably keep it, but I'm just not a fan of the whole California real estate system.
California makes a lot of money in taxes to begin with. It's estimated they're going to bring $130 billion with a B. So I don't think the issue is funding. I think the money is there to build affordable housing. It's been there. California has always made a ton of money. It's just not ever being spent in the right way.
That's the issue. It's just like, you're not going to get affordable housing in Venice Beach. You're not going to get affordable housing in Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, Brentwood, Pacific Palisades, like some of the most expensive neighborhoods in Los Angeles. It doesn't make sense. Someone has to say it. It doesn't make sense to put affordable housing there. I get it. You don't want to kick out residents who've been there their entire lives. But of all the places to put affordable housing, does it really need to be right on the Venice boardwalk and some of the most valuable real estate on the planet? I'd say put affordable housing somewhere else where land is cheaper, where you could actually do something with your money. And then don't blow it. Don't waste all the money. A lot of it just goes to waste.
The reality of Palm Springs, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, but this is the truth about Palm Springs. Most of these homes are second houses. They're second houses for rich people. They're used for a few months of the year, and then the people who own them go back to Canada or Chicago or wherever they came from.
Yeah, see, that's true. Everyone that I know who lives in Palm Springs, they don't live there full time. It's very much a place for people to spend a few months of the year there, and then they leave it empty, and they travel to there, back. It's not a place where you're living full. I mean, obviously people live there full time, but a lot of the really nice places I've seen, they're empty most of the time.
I looked through the whole bill. There's no specific plans of how they're going to spend the money. I even reached out to the office of the senator that wrote it to interview her about it.
They seemed interested actually in an interview, but then they ended up not responding.
Yeah, because they saw she's an Airbnb owner. That's what they saw, and they were like, oh no, we don't want to deal with that. Now, the reality is a lot of these bills, don't go anywhere. They're really just political posturing to say, oh, look, we tried to tax the rich people, but they didn't vote for it. It's so stupid. You know, that's all it is. It's like, hey, you know, we gave it a shot. We could say we did our part. If it passes, though, I mean, there's always a chance, but a lot of these bills go nowhere.
Streamline the permit process, make it faster, easier, cheaper to build. Then it's just simple supply and demand. There would be a lot more houses. If we have an ample housing supply, then they just become more affordable by default.
You know what would be crazy, though? Imagine if Palm Springs just did no taxes. That's it. You know what? We'll lower the property taxes for you. We'll lower some of the, rental taxes for you. We'll do a lot of the. Guess how many people would start building there? Oh, everyone would want to live there. But they don't do that.
All right, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and learned something. Comment down below what your thoughts are on this bill. I'd love to read it.
All right, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments as well. As always, feel free to add me on Snapchat and to Instagram. And don't forget that you could get some free stocks worth all the way up to a few $1,000s when you make a deposit using a paid affiliate link down below in the description. Let me know which stocks you get. Enjoy. Thank you so much, and until next time.